And I will start with a few questions of my own. Well, first, congratulations. Thank you very much for bringing the film here. We absolutely loved it. And I wanted to start asking a question to the producers, which no one ever asks, so I'm going to use my time to do that. You have two films here, Bill, at the festival. The Perfection's playing here, and this. They're two great genre films. You've done a lot of big films. Do you love... what's your feeling towards genre? Are you going to do more genre films?
Absolutely, do more genre films if I can do them with Jason and Blumhouse. This was a fantastic experience, and we plan on continuing it together in some other ventures. But yeah, genre is the most fun. It's why you go to a movie theater, and it's seeing this here in the dark with everybody, and the visceral thrill of it all. It's the basis of the experience. Thank you.
This one certainly achieves that. Malik, this must be very special to your heart because it's dedicated to your father, and it's an incredible film. Could you talk a little bit about how does it feel to be able to do this particular Halloween with this particular crew and talent?
I'm so honored to be on the stage with all these filmmakers. Feels odd that our fearless leader, David Gordon Green, is not here because he should be, but to work with this fantastic cast, crew, everybody behind the scenes, and the fact that they would honor my father is obviously very touching and very important to me, and I can tell you that no one would be happier right now that this film is as good as it is and where it is than he would be. So yeah, thanks to everybody up here and the whole crew and for asking.
Jason, a little bit of a different question for you. I mean, this feels like a natural fit for the Blumhouse brand. Are you planning to bring back any other major franchises or work with any other major franchises?
Well, it was a lot of fun to do this, so we definitely would like to. David, by the way, wanted to be here. He's shooting something else, so he was very sorry not to be here. And he is our fearless leader. And yeah, I hope so. It was really, I would love to do more of it. And we're working on Five Nights at Freddy's, actually. I think Scott Cawthorn is here. So though there hasn't been a movie yet, but yes, we are.
My son is going to go fucking crazy. Are you serious?
The creator just saw your movie, and he's your biggest fan. Scott,
Okay.
stand up. Where's Scott? Scott.
Tom Guest is going to go crazy town. That's amazing.
Where is he? Oh, geez. Okay.
Wow.
So I won't take any more time. I'll just throw this open to the... Oh, well, there's a hand there right already. Please, you go first. I have to repeat it, so please as loud as possible.
So my question is for Miss Curtis. I'm not sure if you've been asked this before, but I would love to know...
Who my favorite Five Nights at Freddy character is?
Where is Scott? Call him, Terry.
Sorry.
I would love to know your real-life Halloween traditions. What do you do for Halloween?
Let me repeat that.
Yes, of course.
The gentleman would like to know what your real-life Halloween traditions are.
I am the proud mother of two now adult children, one who loves Five Nights. Sorry. I'm going to turn this into the junket. And, you know, so I've raised two children and with the commensurate amount of homemade, by the way, Halloween costumes and dead people hanging from trees. And I live in a neighborhood where no one comes. No one. I could put out $100 bills in a bowl and they would all be there in the morning. But I still do. I still put the bowl out and bring it in sadly in the morning. But anyway, you know, I'm a card-carrying mama. So Halloween is for children and apparently now pets. Since it's apparently a very big business in the pet world is the Halloween costumes. But, you know, it is truly, it's a child's, you know, it's something about losing yourself in a character. I really do think the reason Halloween has touched a chord within the culture is you're hiding in a character, and that's very exciting. So I think children love that, and they love to play act that. And cosplay, you know, it becomes like you become a cosplayer later. Anybody cosplaying in here?
We'll take another one. There is one at the back there. Yes.
Oh, good. So I know that it's been since the Rob Zombie Halloween 2 since there's been a Halloween movie. Jamie Lee Curtis hasn't been in one since Halloween, since H2O. And I just wanted to talk sort of to the people who are new to the franchise, and obviously Jamie Lee, who's been here for a while. What brought you back for this version? What made this version the one to come to? And the new people, what intrigued you about
New
this
people.
new version?
So,
Let me repeat that. I'm sorry. What brought you back to this version of Halloween? What enticed you? And for the new people, what was it for you guys to join the cast and crew?
okay, for me, I am here mostly because of you guys. The fans of this movie, this character, are incredibly loyal and loving, and you have given me everything in my life creatively, and so I'm grateful. I am here to represent Laurie Strode, but really to represent Laurie Strode in the way that these clever scribes have done, which is to create a story about generational trauma. You know, what happened in 1978 on October 31st was traumatic, and we never see movies about what happens to the people afterwards. We just see the trauma, we all get very kind of pixelated by it, and then we move on. And I love that this story explored actually what happened, and then in turn, what happens to the daughter, and then in turn, what happens to the granddaughter. So that's why I'm here. And why are you here, lady?
I'm here because I'm lucky enough to have been chosen to be a part of this incredible movie by you fellows up here. I feel so completely humbled and honored to even be sitting up here and a part of this franchise and this legacy. And I don't really know what else to say.
I mean, I think it's perfect that the movie ends with Allison's hand on the knife. I think that just gives everybody in the audience a sense of where this can go, where it should go. Well, exactly. But I mean, it's not, that wasn't an accident. And I was thrilled because I really do feel it's torch handing, but I don't know nothing about nothing. Except Five Nights at Freddy's, which I am an expert.
Would the writers like to say anything about, this version?
Well, I'm gonna say I got jumped over. My
I'm
God,
so sorry.
It's
Sorry,
outrageous.
Jason
No, it
Blum.
wasn't you.
Oh, okay, good.
I have to say that Blumhouse is here because of a man in the audience by the name of Ryan Turek.
Stand up! Woo! Stand up! Come on!
Woo! We pulled Ryan out of bloggerdom, and he is our in-house litmus test. Anytime we're going a little south, you can't do that. The fans are gonna go crazy. And he has about 13 Halloween tattoos on him. And in his second week, he said, if we don't do a new Halloween movie at Blumhouse, I'm not going to be able to continue to live. So thank you, Ryan Turek.
I guess I'm here because I went to college with David Green. I think that's. David came by the office one day, and I think Jason had sent him an email that just said Halloween. And David was like, "What do you think about this?" I'm like, "Fuck, they're not going to remake Halloween, are they?" And he's like,
Never done it before.
And he was like, what do you think about this? And we just thought about it for a while, like, man, it would be incredible to try to crack that. I mean, it's a movie that's meant so much to us, and that's why Jason was crazy enough to let David Green helm a Halloween film, and then he brought all of his little freaks along.
Jeff, you want to say anything?
Man, Danny said, "Do you want to work on a Halloween movie?" And I said, "Fuck yeah."
I don't want to jump over anyone else, so before I get shut down.
This is a scary crew, remember.
Yeah, I go. Well, let's take another right there.
Could you describe in the writing process when you decided to make a Halloween movie into a Home Alone movie?
So the question is, could you describe where in the writing process you decided to make a Halloween movie into a Home Alone movie?
From the very beginning, that was obviously. I think we thought from the beginning that we just needed to have a climax that would that would allow you just to let these two characters kind of face off and have fun and have crazy tension. And I think, yeah, that's it. I mean, we tried to get a paint can swinging down to hit him in the head, but didn't make the cut.
We couldn't afford it.
Another question. Right there.
I gotta say, I really love the Sarah Connor approach you took with James Lee Curtis. But outside of that, what was the reasoning behind skipping out on all of the other mythology of Halloween? I think that's a great idea, but in particular, skipping out on Halloween 2.
So let me repeat the question, sorry. What was the reasoning behind skipping out on all the other mythology of Halloween, especially Halloween 2?
You know, it really came down to us just kind of examining what it was that we really were attracted to about the first one, and there was just a simplicity to it that just worked. It just got you into the terror of it. It was a world that you could relate to easily, and so as we were trying to find our way in, the moment we kind of connected all these films, which, you know, I dig the whole entire franchise, but to write something new and something fresh that wouldn't just kind of feel like another sequel, that continuity was sort of getting in our way of being able to just tell something simple. And so for us, it was a way to kind of find a new end that hopefully could just keep the simplicity of the original without having to do a bunch of explaining to the audience of why we're here.
And remember one thing, you know, sequels and all of the myriad mythologies that occurred, that there is no Halloween Bible. John and Deborah didn't write a Halloween Bible. Mustafa Akkad didn't say, write a Halloween Bible because we're going to make a bunch of these. Nobody thought about it. So the truth of the matter is that mythology then became like a layer on top of the original one. And then all the other movies have had the same thing happen. So I honestly, the reason I'm here is because they did that. Because if you're going to actually make a movie that gives you a chance to really explore trauma, you can't add then Halloween 2 and all the rest of them. You have to just go to the original trauma, the original injury, and now see what happens to somebody 40 years later when they have not been given any help. And it's a world today where we're looking at a lot of people getting a lot of help. Laurie Strode got nothing. Laurie Strode went back to school November 1st with a bandage on her arm. And she left school on the 31st, this dreaming, intellectual, going off to college girl. And she came back on the 1st of November a freak, where everybody talked about her, nobody helped her. And that's what I think was the reasoning behind going just to the original trauma. And I'm really glad they did.
And the other person we should mention who's not here, who was really part of this team when we talk about the first movie, is John. And it was an amazing thing, I think, for all of us to have John be a part of this. And he's quick to say, like, I let these guys write, I let these guys produce, I was very hands-off. But his presence was loomed very large. I spent Saturday night with him. And, David and Danny went to him and he blessed this idea. And when we first started talking about it, he said, do I get Final Cut? Do I get control? Like, what do I said, no, John. I said, you don't. But and he said, forget it, I'm out. And I said, but I can tell you, John, you are the reason I'm sitting here talking to you, the reason all this is here. So if anything happens along the way that you're not happy about, one tweet is going to stop it. And that did land with him, and that was true. And he was really pleased with the process and really pleased with the result. I always say to Jamie, I think he's almost mad that he had such a good time. He's like, he was expecting it to be so fraught, and he actually had fun, and he actually likes the movie, and he's pissed about it.
We'll take another question. I see 2 up there, so we'll do 1 and 2. You guys choose which 1 and 2.
I was curious, this is a question for Danny. You and the other writers, this film takes a long time because a lot of Michael Myers without his mask, which I feel is a bold choice. When in the writing process did you decide this is the moment when Michael gets his mask back?
So the question is, when is the moment in the film when you decided Michael Myers gets his mask back? Because it's a very bold choice to have him without his mask.
We figured after he smashed the reporter's head into a bathroom stall and found the mask in the trunk, that was a good place to put it on. It was just something that, if you're going to meet him in an insane asylum in the beginning, he's obviously not going to have the mask there. And so it was something we talked about a lot of, how do you portray him for the first act of this film without him looking the way that audiences are expecting him to look. And so a lot of that was Mike Simmons, the DP, and David Green, just really kind of finding a really cool way to film this and to keep that foreboding sense about him without revealing him the way that he, that you're used to seeing him.
There was another question up there.
I really appreciate the attention to detail and the little references throughout the movie. Like, when I was looking at the credits, I noticed that PJ Souls played a teacher in the movie, and I thought that was really awesome. What are your personal, favorite little Easter eggs and references that you covered in the movie?
So the question is, what are your personal favorite little Easter eggs that you covered in the movie?
Is this sort of like a private room where no one...
Really ask, and then we've done that too, and they will, but you have to preface it with this
I
is
think
off the
if
record.
you ask...
Okay, I'm
agree.
going to ask
Yes.
for the people in the room that you keep it to yourselves, only because if it gets out too much, it just sort of ruins a fun Easter egg that you guys can then, on Thanksgiving, be at dinner and go like, did you know that Jamie Lee Curtis, would you hold this please, is the baby? There's a man in the front row. I think he's having a heart attack. So it's a secret, even though you're going to want to tweet it. We will find you, and Michael will find you. That's the Easter egg that I had a part in.
Danny, you can still answer.
That's like me saying, what is the favorite thing I wrote in the movie? I can't answer that.
Jeff?
The silver shamrock masks. I love Season of the Witch, and to sneak those in, I thought that was awesome.
We will take one more. Right there.
Ms. Curtis, thank you for that little insight. That was amazing. Danny, what was the reason that Michael did not kill the baby?
That's a good question.
The question is, what was the reason Michael did not kill the baby?
I think it was something that we kind of talked about. Like Dave, that was an idea that that this part of that sequence, that long shot that David and Mike Simmons developed together, and that was just the idea of as he goes through that there was a baby crying. I think it was just probably for the exact reason of, I'm sure it played where you hear that and you're instantly full of dread of oh fuck, is he gonna kill a baby? And then and I think when he doesn't, it just kind of makes him a little bit more mysterious and odd. Is there there's certain people he doesn't kill? I think it's just confusing enough to keep him mysterious.
I'm sorry.
I just want to say one thing that has been missing, is sort of a missing piece to the puzzle, and that is Deborah Hill. And so, as it is a movie about Laurie Strode, her daughter and her granddaughter, and it has been made by a lot of men, I believe that Deborah Hill is Laurie Strode. I think that Deborah Hill was a little bit of Laurie Strode. She was a little bit of Nancy Loomis. She was a little bit of PJ Souls. Her voice and the idea of giving the movie to a young woman and have the audience go on the ride with her was very much Deborah's contribution. And I would be remiss in a movie where 3 generations of women take back the narratives of their life, that the woman who gave birth to those 3 women would not be recognized in it. I just wanted to say that Deborah Hill is Halloween, and I miss her, and she would be so thrilled with your response. So from Deborah, thank you.
Before we wrap up, with no disrespect to any of our other guests, our programming team's a massive fan of you, Miss Curtis, and we got you a tiny gift. Tiny.
You were going to ask me to do
Tiny.
something
No,
else. and
nothing.
I'm-
No.
Baby noises.
We got you a tiny. We know you love World of Warcraft, so we got you a
Oracle
tiny.
Alliance, baby.
There you go.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
See, look, my little guy. Five Nights at Freddy, World of Warcraft.
Can we have a huge round of applause to our guests?